Happy Think That Thursday, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. How are you? Let me know where you're tapping in from. Happy to have you here. Hey, hello. Hi, hi, hi. Please, please, please share the live. That is what you could do for me. And thank you. Share the live. Share it with somebody that you think would appreciate the lesson, or you've ever wanted to share my content with somebody. Like, a live is a great time. I love to chat with people. And I'm sorry, I'm just getting the YouTube set up. Everything is going. You know how hard it is to work like multiple channels when they don't want to work together? Specifically, hi. Oh, hi from Switzerland. That's cool. Hey, how are you? Hi, hi, hi. Hi, thank you for being here. I just saw the people on TikTok that pre-registered to be on the live. Saw that. Thanks so much. You're the best. Hey. And just thank you everybody for being here. So it is Think Back Thursday, and I appreciate your flow. Thank you so much. Oh, my hair. Thank you. I'm going out to dinner after this. A little while after, so I was like, I can't. I gotta do. I gotta do my hair, and it'll just be done. That's what really happened. I was like, I just got to do it, so it's done. But hey, everybody, happy Think Thigh Thursday. Hi from Spain. Hi, Spain. That's so cool. Um, what time is it in Spain? I have no idea. I know it's late. I feel like it's late. Anyway, so what are we talking about today? It is Think That Thursday, and if you know you are here, we chat every Thursday. We are talking about either stuff that is going on in the world or stuff that's going on in my life, because my life is crazy. Or we're talking about our midnight. Oh goodness, see, I knew it was late. Um, I am chatting about, like, I've been kind of, I wouldn't say getting into it, right? Because I don't really argue with people online. Like, you can say what you want to say, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Uh, that's how this works. You came to my page, right? Like, that's just how I feel all the time. Hi, thanks for the new follows. Hi, hi, hi. And so I've been talking a lot about, like, the fact that we need to speak up. So one thing that I always say, like, my biggest block and what I learned the most when I got my divorce at 30, I was like, I found my voice, which I had lost, right? My throat chakra was closed. I was very scared to speak up about things. And I feel like I'm literally still learning more about, like, how that unfolds. And as we get older, we learn more things. As our relationships grow and change, we learn more things. As we experience things, we learn more things. What happens is we just continuously learn. We learn more, we find out more. And if we can tap into it, I should say, if we can tap into it, we learn more, right? Because if we don't, we ignore it, we just repeat the same problems and issues over and over again. Yes? Yes. Had that right. Like, if we don't learn a lesson, if we don't figure out what we were supposed to, like, gain from this or whatever, then we're bound to repeat it until we do. Right. So it's something that I learned then, and, like, I don't really feel like I lost, which literally, because all of this has come out of it, right? Is just the concept that, like, we do need to speak up. We need to be open, and we need to talk about the things that we're going through. How many times, right? And this is, I mean, honestly, I speak to women, but men, if this is something that resonates with you, you are always welcome to share positively. And you're also always welcome to leave quietly, right? So either way, I I say this, that, like, we forget to express ourselves, or, like, we feel embarrassed by trying to express ourselves. We feel like, oh well, nobody cares. I'm burdening people, or nobody knows what I'm going through. And honestly, like, that's the hardest part, when you tell yourself that nobody knows what you're going through, that nobody can cope and help you deal, and there's nothing to, you just, woe is me. Yeah, then woe is you. That's the worst it's going to be. Like, it's going to be bad. It's going to be the hardest it could possibly be, because you're not pulling from any other base of knowledge but your own despair in this moment, right? Because it'd be one thing if it was like, well, yeah, I mean, I know how to do this, so I do this job independently, sure, but that's a specific task, right? That's the way we go to work and whatever, not how we live, right? Like, to live, and grow and become a different person and go through different phases of your life, changes and stages, you're going to have to ask other people. You're going to have to learn from other people. And sometimes, like, we learn to ask, especially our generation, we have learned to ask Google or ask the internet, ask online, which is literally part of the reason why I have said the things that I've said recently. I have come out and stated things that are going on, that have happened. And then I've been very vocal online about, like, and you should call people out too. There is no reason for you to feel embarrassed by the way you feel here. You should just share, or you can share and share as much as you want to, right? Like, I've never forced anybody to share more than they want to, but you should feel confident that you can share what happened to you, what that person did, and if you feel like you were working from the best possible place at the time, that's so much easier. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for letting other people know about the live. I want them in here too. Please share, please send, please get into the conversation as well. Right? Like, is this something that you face? The concept of, like, I have a hard time speaking up. I feel like I am in despair. I feel like nobody knows what I'm going through, or I intentionally hide what I'm going through. Um, and so I feel like there's two sides of it. Like, when you know you were doing wrong, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm out here, I'm running these streets, I'm cheating, I'm lying, I'm scheming. Yeah, you don't share on purpose because you knew. Like, that's that's a person. That's a type of thing. That's a situation. You might be in that situation. That if that's the situation, and you're comfortable, and I guess then that's your life. And whatever comes from that is gonna come from it. I don't know, right? But if you're not just very intentionally going through, like, negative things, if you're not trying to be in the situations, you're not just accepting of these of poor standards, of poor health habits, you're not risking your life, other people's lives. You're not, if you're not doing that, you're just like, I ended up in this bad situation because some people are bad. That's okay. You can own that. You can own that, like, I didn't feel good when this happened. I didn't like being in this space. Hey, um, but that wasn't my fault, right? I didn't ask for this. I didn't try to make this happen. This unfortunately happened. And maybe, just maybe, if you share your story, if you share what happened, if you share your feelings, somebody around you is also going to say, wow, that happened to me too. And I'm glad that you're speaking about it. Because let me tell you how that is what my DMs all look like right now. And again, I'm not asking you to do it on this scale. This is crazy. I opened up my life in a very big way. And that was a choice. That's a choice that I continue to make right now while you and I are here chatting, right? Like, this is just what it is. And I'm cool with this because, honestly, like, this also allows me to control, I won't say control the narrative like I'm trying to hide anything, control the narrative like nobody can paint it that I am suffering so horribly, or that I wasn't suffering from what I was suffering from, right? This is the truth. This is my truth. This is what happened. This is the situation. So, this is what I'm sharing. This is what I'm talking about. And I deserve to have this space. And so do you, right? It doesn't have to be, again, this landscape, but it does have to be this one. It has to be what makes you feel right, makes you feel like, yes, I have shared, I have said, I have protected myself, I've protected the people that deserve protection, right? That was the thing. So I got into this whole back and forth with a girl on Threads, which I am on Threads. If you are on Threads, make sure you follow me. If you're coming here from Instagram, obviously you're following me, probably, right? If you're also on Threads, but I would love to chat with you there too. But so I'm talking to this girl on Threads. Like, there was a post. This woman said that she was invited. She told a guy that she had gone on a date, maybe two or something, very, very light, very start of their relationship situation, that she was going to this show. He said he was also going to the show. I don't know. It sounded like a kind of summer in the park kind of thing. Like, you didn't necessarily have to try too hard to get these tickets. Whatever. So she had a chair that was next to her. He's texting her all the way the week before up until the day. And they go and they meet. No, they both go to the show. She sees him there literally with another girl. And for me, I feel like, and she said she saw them and she saw them again, and they were very, like, romantic. This wasn't just like, oh yeah, and my cousin's here, because then sure, whatever, right? Um, but she said that like she just walked away, which no harm to her, no fault to her. She absolutely walk away, block his number, just don't even deal with it. Because why would you tell me you were gonna be here, have a date, and then also no, no. Like, and then for me personally, right? Like I'm not choice B. And then two, like I just in this situation, especially like the things that I've gone through and the things that I've seen in this moment, my reply to her was, see, no, no, no. Right now, this is where I show up and I'm like, hey, so glad to see you. I knew you said you were going to come here. I didn't think you were going to bring a date, especially because you told me you were going to meet me and I told me to hold this spot. I'm that person. I'm that person. Now, I'm not trying to be loud. I wouldn't necessarily try to embarrass this girl. Like, God forbid. Hi. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to be loud, demonstrative. I'm not trying to ruin her day. Even if you are casually dating, say something. Because that's the thing. Oh, thank you so much, Marcus. Right? Because that's the thing. To me, right? What if that's his wife? What if he was with his wife? Like to say like I'll be there, but I'll be there on a date, right? If you said like I'll be there on a date, so I know that you're gonna be there also on a date. If we only have gone on one or two dates, whatever, right? Like if I'm not crazy, don't date me anyway. Honestly, right? But if I'm not that crazy, like, okay, well, yeah, we're casually dating, especially, I don't know, I'm in my 30s. It's different. Like, if you still feel caught up about it and you're 22, I feel you. That's your business. It's separate. It's different now. I can respect it, right? If you tell me and you let me know so that there's no confusion, I'm not like hurt by this or whatever. Um, but and honestly, I'm gonna divert my eyes on purpose. Look, he told me that he was gonna be here on a date. But again, like I said, what if this is his wife? Because he blatantly hid this from you. He told her to hold a seat. So in the time he was going to try to get away from this girl and come to her, right? Like this is the thing. Like you can't. I'm not excusing this. So that's why. And so that's what I said. And I said honestly, like sometimes I'm an agent of chaos. And really, I'm an agent of chaos not because I want to try to cause chaos in people's lives. Absolutely not. I am only technically an agent of chaos because the status quo is letting people get away with BS. That's not my status quo. Like, I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to just accept this stuff anymore, right? Like, I'm not going to let that happen knowingly. Hey, darling, how are you? Um, right. And so, like, if you're trying to play the extra Romeo, Juliet, and Rosalind, right? Like if you're trying to live that life, then that's your business. But like, I'm gonna speak up about it because honestly, if in my opinion, right? If you're a person that is in like a poly kind of relationship, or also this is just a casual date too, like I understand that one, if this is also a casual date for her, this might just be a really funny memory for y'all relationship. Tell it at the wedding. Perfect. Whatever. I don't care. Um, I'm still not embarrassed, right? I stood on what I wanted to say. I told you, I told the truth at all times. What happened? This is what happened. Um, but like, if you are in that kind of open poly situation, this girl should also understand, like, oh, why didn't you come? She could have came stand with us, because that's really the truth, right? If that's the situation, but the games are being played. So you want to play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. I don't care. This because now, again, this isn't taking away from my life, right? Like now I can say, hey, I spoke up. Again, if this is his wife that he has been cheating on, he has been getting dates and girls behind her back, then now she needs to know. She needs to know, in my personal opinion. She needs to know so she can be saved from whatever comes in the future, right? Because is it and a lot of people are like, well, don't bother. I wouldn't bother. You wouldn't bother. That's cool. We need different people in the world. And here's something that and what I said to her, my last reply to her, because she realized that I wasn't going to change my mind, that I wasn't just going to stand down because, yeah, being quiet is better. Being quiet is better according to what they used to say, right? And that was when women used to get beat in their houses regularly. Just being quiet is what they used to say. That's it, right? And so now we're living in a different time. This is literally my life, right? So like you're just also talking to the wrong person, right? But my point, right, was that so we talk a lot about the karma that men are going to face, right? Where because of the way they act, because of the things that they've done, the way they've treated women. And listen, and I fully believe in that they're going to have to face it, their daughters are going to have to face it. I fully feel like I'm living out stuff from my father. But I am also doing the work to make sure that I'm not trying to repeat it. I'm not trying to just sit in it. And I know that like there's better for me, right? Like there's a lot. However, we talk about the karma that men are gonna face for the way they've treated women in their relationships. But ladies, since this is my audience, what about women? What about the fact that if you don't care about your sisters, you don't care about the women around you, you don't care about the people and try to protect them and be helpful, be supportive in all these spaces, your daughter's also going to face that karma. What about that? Like, what about the energy that you were putting into the world? You're just gonna let this be. You're gonna let this be a problem. She gonna get played in her face, and you watched it happen. You let it happen. Like that just couldn't be me. And I'm not saying that again. This is the right move for everybody. The world needs different people, but what about that? Like, what if I knew that there was a girl? I totally knew that her man was playing her. I decided to be the side chick, right? I decided to do this. I decided to be in this space. I decided to play anyway. And so now I should have to deal with that. I'm going to have to deal with that. And not only am I going to have to deal with that, my daughter's going to have to deal with that. Her relationships will suffer. My relationships will suffer. This is something that Seisha is not willing to put out into the world. I can't do it. I won't do it. Which is part of the reason why I said, like, I know there's stuff that I'm facing whatever repercussions for, and I have, but my choices are still my choices. No matter what, my choices are still my choices. I have the opportunity, I have the option, right? Um to say something and do something here. I'm sorry. Let me get to these comments. Hey, hey, hello, hello, hello. Both are so valid. I would want to save my peace and walk away, but also want to warn her. Um Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would be so annoyed at how he has made me have a person and have to tell her, yes. Oh, I totally agree with that. Oh, thank you, Fuchsia. Right? No, I totally agree with that. I'm not excited about this being a job at this point. However, I mean, again, me personally, I a little bit of joy. I'm constantly saying I'm not the bigger person, and I keep finding myself being the bigger person. I get so mad when they put me there. Well, so and that's the thing too. I said that in a live probably 2 weeks ago, right? If you're doing something that really really hurts you, really really makes you uncomfortable, really really is frustrating for you, then why do it? Right? That's where you're pushing down on your own boundaries. So here we are again in a situation where, like, I am the person that I feel like I have broken my own trust and my own boundaries if I don't speak up. That's how I feel. If you also feel this way, then even if it's annoying, yes, this this is the way. The say something, right? Like say something about it so you can actually speak on what's happening, speak on what's going on, speak, like, just speak it up, right? So you don't have to feel like you kept it down. You don't have to feel like, oh, I should have done this, I should have said something, right? I should have instead, and I didn't, and now that's my fault. That is my problem. And that, right now, you're gonna face that, you're gonna feel that for the rest of the day, of the week, whatever it is, right? It's like choosing between your moral compass and annoyance. I want to be able to sleep at night. No, and exactly, right? So honestly, this is again where you have to figure out what's bigger for you. If it's bigger for you to say, you know what, my peace is so precious, I'm glad that somebody else has this raggedy man, block, delete, gone. Great. If that makes you feel the best, right? Because that means that it was never your job to make that call and to make that happen and to say something. If you know that you're not going to sit at peace with that, then it's the opposite. It's your job to say something, to speak up, to say something about what's happening, right? To decide that you like I need to speak up. I need to make this statement. I need to make this happen because that is the way I will feel good about myself. That's the way I will feel like I can sleep at night, like you said, right? Like my morals were not compromised for this. This wasn't a problem. Um, and while it is emotionally exhausting, I feel like if you, this is where we need to find a way to recover, right? This is where, like, honestly, like when people say they don't have a practice of some sort, right? Like if they don't go to the gym regularly, you don't have a therapist, you don't go to yoga or Pilates or whatever. If like people say that they don't have a system, I'm like, Lord, I don't know how you're doing this, right? And like, I just don't. We need to like take that physical space, like be able to release physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. This is why there's so many modalities to yoga, right? And then this is also why like if we don't do that, it's going to sit on us. We're never going to process it. We're never going to release it. We're never going to let it go. You know why children don't care? They could fight at 12 p.m., like damn near fist fight, clothes clenched, screaming at each other. And then 12:10, they are sharing and playing because somebody said, sorry. Yeah, because they're just moving it. It just keeps going. They're not holding on to it. They're not like so emotionally scarred by it. This person did this on purpose. I don't think they did it on purpose. We were angry in that moment and we move on. Right. And some people, this is not to absolve anyone. Some people did it on purpose. I need you to hear me when I say it. They did that shit on purpose. They were trying to cause a problem. They're an asshole. You are allowed to not like them anymore. You're allowed to not talk to them anymore. You are allowed to just completely separate yourself, sever it, take the step back. You are allowed to do that also on purpose. Because a lot of people honestly push and push and push until they have pushed your boundaries so far away from you being who you want to be that you hate them. That it takes that level of like that steep, deep, horrendous, angry level of hate to be like, oh my God, I can't even stand this person. Every time I talk to them, this and this and the other, I gotta cut them out of my life. Like some people take so much, it takes so much to get there. And this is where, like, yeah, but you know, by the time you got there, they pushed over 20 of your boundaries already. Right? Like the 21st was the time that you decided to flip the tables. What if you had done that at step one? Or at least, which is my, I guess, the way I try to explain it to my clients, and like we talk about it in conversation, like make sure you set those boundaries out loud. Because if you do something that makes me uncomfortable, I can say, all right, well, this you did and it made me uncomfortable. I don't like this. What can we do instead? How can this work? What were you thinking when you did this? How can I see it? You know, like you can talk about it and you can find a space that, okay, so these are the very clear boundaries. So whenever you walk up to that line again on either side, then, you know, now this is a conversation, right? Is this a moment where I can say, all right, well, you walked up to my boundaries. You remember we had this conversation? And then they don't cross it and we're good, right? They never get across that line and it's fine. Or they cross it anyway. And that's your answer. They didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't give a damn about your boundaries. They let you get walked over or they did it themselves. They did not care. And that hurts. I just want to say that. I know I said it with a smile on my face because that's what I do. But that hurts. It hurts because you wanted them to care. You wanted them to fix it. You wanted them to do act right. That was literally the video that I posted 2 hours ago, right? I can't save you. I'm not God. And if you don't want to save you, then too bad, right? You don't, and that to me means that no, you're much more willing to risk my presence in your life than to fix the thing that I asked you to fix. Then you don't want my presence in your life more than you want this. Bye. That's it. Like, there's nothing to figure it out here. What if I'm overcorrecting? Again, conversation, right? This is where we are more vocal. We need to be more vocal. If we say it, right? Okay, well, I don't really know. I don't really know like what to do. I feel like I'm trying this hard and that it's scary. It is uncomfortable to have the conversation. If you don't want to have uncomfortable conversations with me, you don't want to have a relationship with me. That's it. Not a real one. And then really, if you don't want to have a real relationship with me, then why are we having any heavy conversations? Like, for real. We just don't even need to talk about it. Take your clothes off. Let's just sneaky link it up, make it happen, and be out. Or or something, right? Like it doesn't need to be this heavy if we don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations. And then if we do, then we should and we need to. And then the more you have them, the easier it'll be. I'm no longer a storage unit for people behaving badly. The problem is people expect old me and are repelled by this version of me that calls things out. Yes. And that can be a really lonely place. That can be an uncomfortable place. That can be a sad, insert the word here because there's a lot of feelings for it. It really depends on how you feel as a person and where you feel like you should be versus where you are, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot, right? And I see the same for myself, right? I see that where like people don't want to deal with me or people will just lie to me. People will just lie to me. People will just lie to my face. Because it's like, oh, well, yeah, like I just want Seisha's presence or I want to be in this space. And it's like, all right, well, you didn't have to lie to me for that. Like you could be real. You could be the real you, honestly, now. But it's liberating. Let people filter themselves out, right? So again, for me, if I know you're lying, like, so you might have access to my space because of where we are at, but you don't have access to Seisha because it's a waste. It's a waste of my time. Like, my interactions, my conversations, like it's just a waste of my time. Like I don't deserve to spend that kind of energy on somebody that is not also putting that out or at least willing to share with me in the same vulnerable way. So you lie to me and you create a surface level persona. Well, you get the surface level of this. This is just what it is. I'm not pouring in energy or pouring out energy that you have not maintained. I followed you for over a year. Thank you for everything, especially your positivity. Thank you, Garden Variety. I appreciate you being here, right? I appreciate having people to have these conversations with. If I was talking to myself, it'd be a little weird. And sometimes it feels like that. So, give and take. But I say all that I say in this because when you speak up for yourself, when you take ownership of the situations that have happened and you share with others, you empower yourself, right? We're so worried about embarrassing ourselves versus empowering ourselves. If we can do one, we can do the other. And personally, like I said, if you're in a situation where somebody was acting a fool, why should you be embarrassed? They're the fool. Let them put on the jester hat and look how they look. That's just what it is. Be empowered, feel strong in what you are doing and what you're saying. The fact that I have, and I said this when I went live about like my breakup and everything, that like when you take ownership of your boundaries and you know that you've stated them out loud, it's not hard to keep them and uphold them, right? If anything, it's harder to let them fall, which is part of the reason that why people don't do it, right? Like I've heard people say this before that like I feel like it's not real until I tell my mom, right? So like I could play around, I can do this, I can BS myself, I can accept less than I want, I can let my boundaries be knocked over, I can be the pushover, I can be whatever if I don't tell this person, if I don't tell my mom. Let me tell you, I'm that person in several people's lives. If I don't tell Rosacea. It's not real. I could. And I hate it. I hate it for you. I hate it for me. I hate it. Um, Thank you, Mr. Vibes. Um, I hate that that's the space that people want to take up because that means that like I'd rather not be real and maintain this situation. That's heavy. That's tiring. That's uncomfortable for the soul. It's a lot. It's not what I suggest. And all I really say, I'm not saying that to shame anybody or to attack you. I'm just letting you know that it's heavy, right? So all of this, the facade you keep up, the person you're pretending to be, that's like just another whole person that you're carrying around versus letting that person go and carrying yourself around and being you and explaining yourself and and just supporting yourself, allowing yourself to get to the space where like I always did what felt the best for me. And that's not selfish, right? Because that should be whatever your moral compass leads you to be, right? um I need to focus on being directed by my soul and how things sit with it, right? If if it's hard, like if you're just being a jerk, then you're being a jerk. Everybody's gonna suffer. Nobody's gonna like you, and then you're gonna face the repercussions of that, right? But here's the thing: think about the jerkiest person you know. Think about the biggest bum, the one that you're like, God, if I could never talk to him again, I would. Think how nice you've been to him or her, and how nice other people are, and they don't say anything, and they just get to keep being that jerk. How is that fair? Why would you want that? We try to like combat it in our children, right? Like, oh, well, I try to raise my children to be good humans, our kids, right? And like I don't have any kids, but like I always say to my friends, I have hope for y'all and your children and all that, but like the adults that are here now, if we're not choosing to work, um if we're not choosing to work on it and build and change and be better, like then no, we're just gonna be jerks that whole time too. See, girl, and I hear you, right? Like they don't care and they keep on living their best life, but that's the thing. They don't care because this happened one time. They don't care because that was an uncomfortable conversation for you, right? Because they could still bully you into feeling like, no, but this is the status quo. That's why I said I have no problem being an agent of chaos. The status quo is people being terrible and being selfish and being self-centered and being disrespectful. And yeah, I'm gonna flip the table on all of that. I don't care. Because then I know the only people around me are going to be genuine, are going to be positive, and like this is not toxic positivity. Everything ain't good vibes all the time, right? Like that's crap. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that like we can't live in this negative place. I can't be making stupid decisions for the plot at all times. Like I'm 34. I can't live like this. Like I was ready to be a wife and have kids and have a different life 10 years ago. And people have proven otherwise, that they're just not ready to handle that. There's so many things that it's like, all right, look, if you can be upfront about who you are, if you can be real about who you are, no, you're not going to have everybody in your life, but you're going to have the right people. It is far more valuable to have the right people in your life than everybody in the world. That's just true. There are a lot of things that I say that I'm like, sure, I guess I wish it was. It's true. It's just this is the situation. If it wasn't so hard, if the work wasn't so hard, more people would do it, right? Yep, I am. Yes. Quality over quantity. And yes, I'm in fact 34 years old. I don't know. What'd you think? You don't have to answer that. And yeah, so right, like it's a lot of wisdom up in here. I've had a lot of years. And then I always say, like, I've been an old lady since I was 5. I was raised by my great grandma. So there's a lot of things that like I just The whole been there, seen it, done it situation. Like it's a lot. I have a lot of knowledge to pull from, and I appreciate that as a part of what I have and what I do and what I provide. This is how I can have these conversations with you, because I have them, because I do them, because I actually express myself and find people and do that, right? Like I don't try to do it alone because I want you to know that you don't have to. I want you to understand that this is a space that is created, a space is created for us, a community space. This is why I do my Dharma talk in my classes and I do my body positivity workshops and the things that really I want to share because of the way that I've grown in those spaces. And I feel like this is a new space that I have adapted and learned more about in the time in the last month and a half ish, right? End of July to now, that the grief, talking about how you feel, having the heavy conversations, even though, thank you for following, even though I like I don't want to have to go through grief all the time to do it. Actively being in this space and having the conversations that I've been having with you guys has been very eye opening in the way that, like, people are afraid of having conversations about their feelings. People are afraid of other people's feelings, right? So if I don't feel safe that I can express how I feel and share and whatever, right? In my world, I don't even have to know you to be uncomfortable with you sharing your feelings. Like that's crazy. And it's very limiting. Yes, talking about it makes it better sometimes, but you got to talk about it in the right way. Well, so and that's the thing, right? And I think that is again part of the why I want to continue to have these conversations, because like what's the right way? I think that there's I don't think there's one answer. I think there's a lot of right ways. It's a matter of finding the right way for you, right? And this is part of the reason why, like people think, especially like we talk a lot now. There's been a lot of conversation since the pandemic, at least about like therapy, right? Go find a therapist. Go find a therapist. But like then now you're gonna find just any therapist, like just somebody that has a degree, right? Nah, it's not just any therapist. Find the right therapist. Try a couple of different therapists. Um, Speaking as a male, sometimes we are afraid of your wait. Read that again, please. Help me out. Um, so right. So finding a therapist, finding the right type of support, even when it comes to yoga, right? Um, People are like, oh, well, I tried yoga and it just didn't work for me. I don't know what it was supposed to do. I'm gonna let you know. Work, like check off. What? Okay. Speaking as a male, sometimes we are afraid of your reactions. Yes? And yeah, yes. Do you think we're not afraid of your reactions? We die when men react poorly. So yeah, I know you're afraid to get yelled at or cried at or honestly like verbally berated. And anything else. Like I'm not saying that women are violent or things like that don't happen, but the numbers, baby, the numbers. Right? So yeah, I am I get it. It is not comfortable. Again, if you love me, you have to love me enough to have uncomfortable conversations with me, because if you don't have uncomfortable conversations with me, then you're going to put me in uncomfortable positions. How is that better? So I just can't, right? Like I can't advise it. I can't accept it. I can't just go for it. No. Like, yeah, you can be afraid of the reaction. Your people don't say things on purpose because they are afraid of the reaction. But sometimes you're afraid of the reaction, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna blow up at me. And sometimes you're afraid of the repercussions, like, oh no, she's gonna leave me. And I don't want that because she should. Um, yeah. Wait, okay, so it's not. We just have to learn how to say it. That I can admit. So yeah, and so that's the thing. Learning how to say it. Learn how to speak to your partner. Learn how to speak to your friends, right? Like this is a thing that I have realized that like as we've grown up, we've kind of grown apart from some of our friends. We've connected with new people. Um, and it's weird. Like I know for myself, I have a lot of like friends from middle school. We have a middle school friends group chat, two of them now they overlap, but still, there's two of them, and like that's not common for everybody. But then, like depending on where you're from and how your life has gone, sure, right? So I have that set of friends. I have friends, and like I have honestly, I went to high school and college with a lot of the same people because we stayed in the same major. But I don't have a lot of friends from college specifically, right? I don't have a lot of friends and I have small few group of friends from high school. These are people who our lives we can still talk to each other, though our communication styles have matched in whatever ways. The way that we've been able to interact with each other and have conversations and maintain the relationships in our lives has been great. Hey, Gito, Florida. I'm in Florida too. I'm in Orlando. Where are you? Um, so right, like the conversations that you have with people, the way you interact with people, the way you work with them, the way you feel called to hang with them, to do things with them, to be in that space, the way you feel called to that, right? Um, makes you put more or less effort into it. There's somebody that you could run into from high school right now that you'd be like, oh, hey, oh, God, I literally haven't thought about you since we were in 11th grade Spanish together, as in the whole 12th grade until right now. Didn't even consider you. You didn't sign my yearbook, nothing. Right? Like, and that's fine. You are allowed to have that relationship with that person. That should not be the way you feel about your best friend, right? And anywhere in between. So you learn the way to navigate people. You learn the way to have conversations with them. I think this it's just unfortunately we learn to navigate people by lying to them, by manipulating them, by being conniving or secretive or whatever. Versus the other side of that is like, well, if I learn to navigate people by being honest and being straightforward and understanding, like these are the people I want in my life, so I should talk to them like this. That's fair. Just gauge for yourself the level of energy and effort you want to put in, but it is valid for you to put it in. Okay. So with that, do I have any more questions, you guys? It's been a good conversation today, y'all. Thank you for hopping in. Gito, November. Okay. All right. So I am gonna put this on my replays. So this is Think Night Thursday, right? Thank you for being here. I go live every Thursday. Sometimes I have a guest, sometimes I don't. And so talking today about speaking up for yourself, right? Why your voice really matters and it's important for you to speak up. I want you to work on those boundaries, speak on them. You deserve to uphold them. And you deserve to receive every boundary that you uphold, right? So if you don't hold that up, who says you deserve to get what you're supposed to get from it? That doesn't make sense. You are allowed to hold that space for yourself, right? So if you missed anything, I want you to go back to the YouTube video, watch the replay. I would love for your comments to be there. And if you're looking to meet up with me in person, please make sure that you get your spot in the Cartagena retreat. There is also the Bermuda cruise leaving from New York City that just opened up last week. All of those links are in my bio. Make sure that you are there. The Cartagena retreat is all women and it is going to be 8 days and amazing. The cruise is open, right? So anybody that was looking to go on a yoga retreat, looking to be a part of it, 5 days, Bermuda from New York, let's do it. And there are other things coming. We are developing more things for further out through the year. I am excited. if you are looking to get into yoga, you can check out my YouTube channel, or you can book a session with me, book a set of sessions. My calendar is going to be closing very soon for the yoga retreat that I have here in Orlando the first weekend of October, October 3rd to the 6th. I've also been updating you guys on that, on anybody that's been following me for any yoga teachers or people like that, people, wellness practitioners that have been following me specifically for information and ways to just grow their business, wellness business practices, things like that. If you are looking to host retreats, I've been kind of walking through the steps a little bit and then gathering information for your questions, your comments, your concerns, your thoughts, because I want to know. I want to know who this information is for, who this could benefit, and answer your questions, because maybe I'm just not even thinking about it now. I've done this several times, so it's a little different. And so I would love that feedback. So thank you for being here. If you have questions, if you want to do yoga, or anything else, right? You can always go to thickthighyoga.com. That is me, Thick Thigh Yoga. I would love to talk with you and work with you, and I will see you soon.